Coach Lance here with CFSJ's Inside the Box. Whether you have tight times or tight spaces, we've got you covered. What you're about to follow along with is a 1-hour class shrunk into a 10-minute video. How do we do it? We create pause points, we write out equipment lists, and we give you substitution options to where there is zero thought on your part. So whether you have a hotel room, a hotel gym, or you're lucky enough to be outside, we're going to give you that great CFSJ feel when you're not at CFSJ. So let's take a look at the equipment list. Most of the times fairly minimal, and a lot of times you can substitute these things for things you have around your house, whether it be a water bottle or a filled up backpack. So let's go ahead and grab your phone, let's check out this equipment list, and let's get going. Every class, we're going to start off with 2 minutes of cardio. Now, if you're lucky enough to have a bike or a rower or a treadmill or the outside, let's go ahead and do 2 minutes of rowing or jogging or biking. If you don't have that, then let's start off with some jumping jacks, some step back burpees, some double unders, or some other method of your choice that you can do in the tight space that you're in. If you need a suggestion, let's go ahead and do step back burpees. The thing I love most about step back burpees is they hit everything at once. So instead of making this a dynamic, we're going to make this a very slow, grindy kind of movement, stepping back, engaging that plank on the way forward, driving those hips open, getting that nice hinge and that hamstring stretch, and working the plank and the push-up. By the time you've done about 15 of these, everything is ready. Now again, it's your choice, so let's go ahead and start those 2 minutes now. Moving on from our cardio, let's focus on the 4 movements of our dynamic warm-up. Starting with the knee-up ankle rotation. Quick reminder, this is less about your ankle than it is about your core and your glutes. Pulling the knee up under its own power, finding that balanced position. If you feel a little bit wobbly, see what activating or tightening the glute and pulling the belly button to the spine does. You're going to go 1 rotation each side before switching, 10 total. Next, from a plank position, we're going to go piked calf stretch. Very similar to a down dog, pumping the heels each time, 10 total. Moving on to a child's pose for quadruped lat stretch, reaching right hand across the body, feeling a big stretch between the armpit and the hip, holding for a half a second before moving on, 10 total. And going back to the plank position for Spider-Man with a double twist. Right foot reaches right hand, elbow drops to ground before turning the chest into and away from the knee, 10 total. Now that we have a fairly simple warm-up, let's spend a little more time on it if you need to, or pull something from a previous day that may work. Take your time on this, and we'll see you at the next section. Today's activation is all about body control. Starting with single leg floor touch. This is all about control. You can get a little more control by spreading the toes and driving the big toe into the ground. As you drift the hip back, keep the shoulder blades tight as if you were doing a single leg deadlift, touching right foot with the left hand before switching sides. 10 total. Next, we've got slow tempo air squats. Just what it says, keeping the shoulder blades back, take a 3 count on the way down and a 3 count on the way back. If your counting speeds up, go deep inhale on the way down, deep slow exhale on the way up for a total of 10. And last, face down position, prone scap activation. With the face down, we're not lifting the chest off the ground. Starting with the hands directly above the head, driving the elbows back to the ribs, before bringing the hands around to end up behind your back. Now, as always, we've got 2 rounds of this. Take your time on all of these. This is all about control, not about quickly getting through it. We've got plenty of that in the WOD. Let's save it for that. Go ahead and take your time, hit pause, and we'll see you at the next section. Today's strength is a lower body muscular endurance day. We're combining something that traditionally doesn't fit in our strength portion of double unders combined with squat cleans. The purpose of the double unders is to work skill and create fatigue, followed by a high skill strength movement like the squat clean to keep the mind active and to force you to stay engaged. Most of us are going to go single arm, dumbbell, or kettlebell on this, and we can actually start from a hang position. Starting with the bell right around the knees, we're going to drift the hips back as if we were going to do a kettlebell swing. Quick extension of the hips, drive that shoulder up, keep the elbow tight to the body as you shoot it forward to catch into a front rack. Optional to land into a partial squat, power clean versus muscle clean. You're going to do 10 of these, 5 each arm, only after you've hit 100 double unders. If you're not doing double unders, you're hitting 200 singles. I might have enough double unders to string together 100 of them, but I don't want this taking the entire 5 minutes. So limit yourself to about 2 to 2.5 minutes of double unders or double under attempts before doing those 10 single arm squat cleans. Okay, let's go ahead and set our timer for 5 minutes. Now, we've got 3 rounds of this. Go ahead and set your 5-minute timer. Focus on good quality reps on the cleans, and we'll see you at the next section. And now let's move on to that Metcon. Today's WOD, Spice Spice Baby, is indeed that. A 15-minute AMRAP of power cleans, burpees, and thrusters. If you're lucky enough to have a wall ball, you can substitute the thrusters for wall balls, but most of us are going to be in the predicament that one bell is going to rule them all. Let's go ahead and watch Coach Devin demonstrate the power clean. Starting at the knee, hips drift back, quick hip extension. Shoulder pulls up, but elbow stays close to the side before shooting the elbow through and catching into a front rack. Realistically, the weight is going to be low enough that you're probably going to get by on a muscle clean, but if you want to challenge yourself a little bit, land into a partial squat before standing and switching sides. This will be followed by 10 burpees. Performance standard on this is we're looking for thighs and chest to touch the ground, hips to snap up, quick jump clap overhead. And last, we've got our wall balls or our thrusters. Most of us aren't going to have a wall ball, so for the thruster, we're looking for a squat in a front rack position, and reminder, in those last 2 or 3 inches of stand, pop the hips. Let this be more of a hip activity than a shoulder activity. These 15 minutes are going to smoke your hips and shoulders. You're going to feel like this shouldn't be too hard of a challenge in the first 2 minutes, and by minute 7, it's going to start to set in. So mentally, you're going to have to manage your rest more than you're going to have to manage your work. It's going to be very easy to drop the implement and stare at it, so give yourself a count, 3 seconds, 5 deep breaths, whatever it is, and try to maintain that for the entirety of this 15-minute workout. Let's go ahead and set a playlist. I would suggest something very fast-paced, something super motivating. Whether it's EDM or speed metal, let's get it going. Now let's set our timer for 15 minutes and get ready. 3, 2, 1.